Welcome to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprofit.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we're talking Week 15 Waiver Wire. Got some decent ads this week, but before we do that, we're going to quickly talk about the Philadelphia Giants game that just ended up, which actually was a decent game for I didn't really expect much in this one, but ended up being a pretty fun little game there. Eagles win at the end with Zach Ertz getting himself 2 touchdowns off 9 for 91. Wentz actually got a decent game out of it because of that those last touchdowns with 325 and 2 touchdowns. But I mean, there's really not like a lot of takeaways from this thing. I mean, I guess one takeaway is it's still disappointing what Barkley's doing, which is nothing. You don't love to see that, but Darius Slayton, how about Darius Slayton's first half? I think he had pretty much everything in the first half, 5 for 154, 2 touchdowns, and nothing after that. We've talked about him a little bit. This ties into waiver wire. I mean, it was a huge half. For some reason, I feel like I don't trust it yet.
Right.
He plays Miami next week. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he has to be on your waiver wire pickup. There's not a whole lot of people left. He's done it enough to make me believe that he can be a legitimate player. You know, Philly hasn't really stopped anyone this year as far as passing. They rank pretty low in that. So you take that into consideration. But I mean, he's had a few really big games, but it is kind of feast or famine. But let's be honest, the next 2 weeks, I mean, going even past Miami, he's at Washington in Week 16. So he is a very viable play. And he did it with Eli as well. So that's good to see moving forward. Just whatever happens with that QB situation. I don't know. Do I love putting him in my lineup, especially in the playoffs? No. But if you're really, between a rock and a hard place, I don't see anyone else that would be better.
Yeah, let's say you have Mike Evans and you don't have a viable backup and Slayton's out there. So Mike Evans is going to be out. And I mean, he's probably, okay, it comes down to Slayton, A.J. Brown, that's kind of what it will come down to. Or you could, Anthony Miller is probably below that. So you get these big play threats of Slayton and Brown who could go huge for you, or a little safer Anthony Miller, Cole Beasley type. No, I think you have to go Slayton if he's out there. It's pretty clear.
Yeah, it's a rough one because I could make, and A.J. Brown was the other one on my list, but I could make an argument for him. I think that they're very similar players in the amount of points that they put up. I like AJ Brown's quarterback situation better than Darius Slayton. I don't know. Do you think Darius Slayton has that bigger big play ability? So like one play can get you the points needed compared to AJ? I mean, it's very splitting hairs when you talk about these two because they were so similar in the past few games.
I mean, I wanted to say Slayton at first, but maybe as I'm thinking this through, and I feel like I want the receiver on the better team. Tennessee's been playing well. Tannehill's been playing well. Brown's situation is much better than Slayton's situation. And maybe I would just feel safer actually with that. Brown hasn't had big games every week, but there's no one else but him. He's the main guy. They spread the ball around a lot. But if someone's going to do something good, it's going to be A.J. Brown. You know what? I think I'm going to go A.J. Brown over Slayton.
Yeah, I think I would probably lean that way. They're going against Houston, which is a little bit better, but they're not very good.
Look what Drew Lock just did against them. Yeah, look what Drew Lock just did. Yeah.
So I do expect him to be able to have a big game. I don't know why. I tell you the truth, you could make, if you wanted to go Darius Slayton, I would not fault you for it. I just personally like A.J. Brown a little bit more.
Then how about another guy from this game tonight that is he a waiver wire pickup or not? Boston Scott. So I actually really liked what I saw from him. He just looked like Darren Sproles out there. It looked like another Darren Sproles. He ended up with 10 carries, 59 yards, a touchdown, 6 catches for 69 yards. I don't know who you would have had that you're still in the playoffs and you need to replace him. Darius Geis, maybe, like if you were a bad team like me that limped your way to the playoffs and had a player like that. is this a consideration, maybe more PPR wise? But Boston Scott, I mean, that's a solid little game there from him.
I mean, as long as the playing situation doesn't change, he is going against Washington next week. So he has another very good matchup. I mean, once again, I would feel even worse about this one than playing, Slade. But if you're looking for a running back, you're not going to find much better options as long as we find out no one else is, becoming active or something of that nature.
And so before we jump in, I'll jump into some more players here, man. I just want to run down some of the injuries. This is actually a big injury week. And just so you might actually have reasons to play. So we have Darius Geis is going to be out. Mike Evans looks like he's going to be out. Jared Cook, we think had a concussion. We don't know what his situation will be exactly. I mean, Devontae Parker had a concussion. He might be out. Josh Jacobs it seems like it's leaning towards he's not going to be playing again. Calvin Ridley's now looks like he's out for the season. Rashad Penny's out. Looks like probably he's going to be out for the season. So there's a lot of injuries this week. Just, they all hit in 1 week finally. That's crazy. But nobody really to take advantage of the waiver wire, I guess. So I'll say this. If Josh Jacobs is out, do you go? Is there a better running back pickup than DeAndre Washington then, or should he be the top if Jacobs is out? But right now we don't know for sure, so it's a little risky.
Right. I mean, yeah. If Josh Jacobs is out, and you know that going in, I would say that Washington would be. He's a clear-cut number one there. I'm not expecting him to have the same output he did last week. He looked really good, but I would take the sure thing rather than, say a Boston Scott, which, as much as I'd like to believe that this is going to continue or that he's going to get the same amount of snaps, I can't. I know DeAndre Washington will be on the field at least. It gives him a better opportunity to score.
Yeah, that's other than Washington, Scott, Mostert, I mean, I have to bring him up again. He's in a backfield with a lot of players that are going to be playing, but his production just... Like, how do you not pick up this guy and play him? I think you have to. I know it's scary and risky based on the volume isn't all the way there, but he's been so good. If you need a running back play, how do you pass him up? I mean, I don't know. Would you feel comfortable doing it? Actually, I'm thinking about it. Like, if you had to make a decision next week to play him in your lineup. I know I didn't this past week, and it's kicking myself for that. Would you do it? It's luckily you have like McCaffrey and Zeke and Dalvin Cook. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about it at all.
Think about that, people. For a second. McCaffrey, Zeke, and Cook. I mean, come on, like that's insane. That's ridiculous. And Lamar Jackson.
I sold out in order to get the last couple.
Sold out. Sure. Yeah, it's probably sold your soul for that team.
Yeah, I had to do what I had to do. I couldn't lose anymore.
But Mostert.
Mostert, yeah. I mean, yes, I would. I guess it would all depend on who else I had, right? I mean,
yeah.
I like Mostert more than most people, I would say. But I'll be completely honest. You just don't really know the snap. You just don't know how it's going to work out with San Fran. They can either have a completely defensive game. We've seen them completely get shut out on in the running game. We've seen them go off. We've seen all of a sudden a different running back get, the majority of the carries. So do I like his, where he's at the moment? Yes, I do. But just realistically, I mean, are you going to have someone else that you feel a little safer about?
Well,
probably, and that would be the question.
Okay, here we go. If you're just stuck to the waiver wire with this.
Okay.
Mostert, who is definitely in a split, is only going to get a certain amount of, volume snaps. Or Patrick Laird, who is the clear-cut guy for Miami. He played 82% of the snaps last week, 15 carries, 5 targets. But
yeah, I actually still go with Mostert.
Right? Like the production hasn't been good. I mean, 15 for 48, 3.2 yards per carry, 4 catches, 38 yards. But there's volume. But yeah, so you would take the chance on the more productive guy in shorter span than the guy is going to get carries.
Yeah, so, that's where I would go.
So what would you do with Laird? Is there even a situation where you play the guy? Like, I see him on these lists. I see him on other people's lists, and it's just kind of like, man, I don't know. It's just I mean, did we do this with Brian Hill a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, for me, you would have to be in desperate need. And I can't imagine someone at this stage of the year being there. But, I mean, I've had a ton of injuries before. I get it. Maybe you're wide receiver heavy. And, Howard is out. There's a bunch of opportunities where you might be able to, but I think you can still get other guys. I just don't feel good, about any running back. And for the majority of the year, they haven't done anything on the ground. So I'm not going to trust it when you get to the most important part of the year.
And then, so other than that, I don't honestly have other running backs this week. I mean, the handcuffs at this point all depends on where you are in your playoffs. Some people, this is still maybe the second round of the playoffs. Some people, this is their championship round. It's the first game of the championship. So if you're in your championship round, this is like it. Who cares about handcuffs? But if you're still going, I'll just Madison again. Got to pick him up if he's out there. Yep. I don't know if he's still out there or not in people's leagues, but if he is, just you got to go get him. Same thing. If you have like a week left, just get your handcuffs. That's all you got to do. Other than that, I don't really have other running backs this week down in this 40% or under level. There's just there's a couple decent players, but that's about it. There's nothing really else here. And like we said, wide receivers, we talk about Slade, and we talk about Brown, Anthony Miller. Zach Pascal has been pretty solid again, but this is for maybe you had Mike Evans and Calvin Ridley, and you're really hurting, and you got to go down to like a Zach Pascal level, which he's fine, but again, I hope you're not having to play him in a championship round. But he had 5 for 74 and a touchdown, so that was a solid game, and then he had 7 for 109 the week before, so he's been pretty good for 2 weeks. Again, I have no trust there.
No, yeah. I would feel so uncertain about it. I guess that's a good question. At this point, I think you hone in on people that you like or that you've seen personally. If you get past like the normal type of people, Slade, AJ Brown, say those guys were taken, someone takes them in order to block you. You have to, load up 5 guys on your waiver wire to make sure you have someone. Who are you looking for that when you get lower than this, where you're just like, maybe, are you just looking for this guy has a halfway decent shot of catching 1 touchdown, or do you actually look for production? No,
it's going to be more like, I think probably who could just maybe, who plays for sure. And you might do something like it that I always would probably lean towards Cole Beasley then, because he's out there, he plays, he seems to get a touchdown. He's got touchdown. How many he has now? He has 6 touchdowns in the past 8 games. That's the kind of player I'd probably go get. It's like a Beasley and just hope he gets that touchdown. So he'd be towards the bottom of my list. And then I don't like a lot of these other options. Then it'd be like Beasley. Man, after that, I don't know. Then you go like a McCole Hardman. And just say screw it. Just hopefully get one. Get just one. Get that 1 touchdown. And hope it all works out for you. Because there's not much after that. I'm just scrolling through, just seeing, just nothing's catching my eye.
I know, I'm trying to think like gun against my head. Who would I say? There is, depending on what happens
Johnson,
with,
James Washington.
I was going to say James Washington. Yeah, I was going to say both of them. They are going against Buffalo. I'm not really a huge fan of that matchup. But, if Juju is out, that's a halfway decent gamble.
Yeah.
It gets pretty dire after that.
But if you're in this spot and you just need to fill in for 1 week anyway, you just got to take what you can get at this point and hope for the best. After that, let's see here. Quarterback again. I think Ryan Tannehill needs to be picked up and played. The guy's just
he's been doing great. You just look at his numbers. We don't even have. They speak for themselves, really.
Yeah, you just if he's still out there, you go find him. I think it was like 40.1% owned. So you go pick up Tannehill, you play him.
That's a good one. He jumped up 18.8% this past week. So people were obviously onto him. That's great because he had a big game. He's going against Houston. That should be another pretty decent matchup. I'm not expecting the 30 plus that he put up, but I feel good about low 20s as a benchmark.
Yeah, definitely. Then after him, if you're looking just streaming wise, Trubisky's been playing pretty good fantasy-wise. I mean, 38.1 last week, 29.9 the week before, 20.9 the week before. He's had 4 of his last 5 games above 20 points. You could go, I mean, if Tannehill's taken, you go Trubisky. I mean, after Trubisky, I don't know where you go. But for Fitzpatrick,
right,
playing against the Giants. I mean, Fitzpatrick, honestly, he's been, again, he's just Fitzpatrick. He wasn't great this past week, but he just, he seems to play. He has the chance to put a big number sometimes. And how, I don't know what else you're going to play him, or you're going to play Andy Dalton. No, I'm going to play Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick or Gardner Minshew. I don't have any trust in Minshew. Those kind of players,
No, not at the moment.
No, none at all there. So I'll
go.
go.
I'm trying to think does anyone else have just a ridiculously nice matchup that I'm missing?
Let's see. I mean, you got Baker Mayfield playing against the Cardinals, but again, I don't trust anything in Baker Mayfield.
I really don't either. I feel so bad. I can't believe it. But yeah, I no faith whatsoever in what he would be able to do. Sam Darnold, there's no way I would start him, and I think he goes against Baltimore.
And then Derek Carr playing against the Jaguars, they've been really bad. But, so this is a fun little stat if you're thinking about Ryan Fitzpatrick. Over his last 8 games, Ryan Fitzpatrick has scored 18.2 fantasy points per game. Over his last 8 games, Patrick Mahomes has scored 17.6 fantasy points per game.
Look at that.
Right? So, I mean, who do you want, Ryan Fitzpatrick or Patrick Mahomes? It's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Fitzpatrick.
Another guy that I just want to mention, he's 42.7, but, he's probably available in a lot of leagues still. Phillip Rivers. So he has been underachieving all year, but the last 2 games at Denver, at Jacksonville, he has shown up 20.6 and then the big 30.6. He's at home against Minnesota. Do you have does he even factor into your decision making? I mean,
Minnesota's good, but they don't scare me completely, I guess I would say. I still want Tannehill over him. Man, I don't know. Trubisky versus Rivers is probably close for me. I'd probably want Rivers over a lot of some of the other guys, over like a Fitzpatrick, those kind of players. Because he does have the weapons, and he could have a big game at any point again. So I think I'd go Tannehill, but then Rivers, I think Rivers, Trubisky, I don't know where.
Yeah, in that case, I mean, sadly enough, I'd probably go Trubisky.
But I don't expecting
last week. I actually don't like the matchup against Green Bay. I think it'll probably be a low-scoring affair.
Yeah, at Green Bay too, with Trubisky, I don't trust.
No, I don't. But at the same time, I mean, do I trust his ability to get more fantasy points than Rivers? It's a toss-up, but lately I would have to say yes.
Yeah, that's what I think this week there's actually some QB options if you did the streaming thing this year and you're still going on that. So, you could figure that out. Then how about tight ends? Just throw out some tight end names real quick. There's not, a lot always, but Noah Fant, wait and see what his injury is. But if he's healthy with Drew Lock, the way he played there, he's going to be. I think he's a good pickup against Kansas City. He had a bruised foot, so we'll see what ends up happening. It doesn't seem like it's anything more than that. So if Noah Fant's out there, you got Noah Fant. You have Tyler Higbee, put up some big games in a row here. A couple of them. You could probably go get Tyler Higbee as well. Which, is there anybody else on your radar there? Fant, Higbee.
Yeah, those
Howard. OJ Howard's below 40% yet. He had a good game, but a good game for him. 4 for 73, and that's what we consider good for him now. 4 for 73 and 5 for 61 the week before, and we're like, oh, hey, there he is.
Yeah, I still don't fully trust him in that offense. I think I would rather have Higbee. That's probably what I would do. I would probably go Higbee, then Fant, and then OJ Howard. That's kind of where my head is at.
I'd probably go. Yeah, I have to go similar than like Gesicki after that. He wasn't great, but he's shown promise. So playing against the Giants, yeah. I don't know who else. Yeah, Not really much else on that list, is there?
Not really. I mean, especially with tight end, below 40% is
it gets ugly.
Pretty barren,
I think Higbee and Fant are pretty solid options, actually. I mean, Higbee, maybe that's something. He's been really good for 2 weeks, so
yeah. I mean,
there might be something.
I would
there.
play the hot hand. I feel like that usually works
towards the end of the seasons. It seems to, for some reason, it just the lineups we're playing in these championships end up being just the players you play are just all over the board sometimes. But.
Yeah, and Fant might. I mean, I think he had one good game. I'd like to see another one before I put him like above Higbee or anything like that. So Higbee's a great one too because he's not owned in a lot of leagues. So you more than likely can get him if you're in dire need. I'm not sure who or why you would be in that situation at this point, but heaven knows that tight end is rough.
Mark Andrews' injury. We don't know his status. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, no. Yeah, I'm lying because Jared Cook. He could be completely out. Yeah. So I mean, very true. Higbee would be the number one, and that's below 40%. I'm not sure. You might get lucky and
somebody has.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody else. But all right, I think that's it for me. That's all I got for waivers. Unless you have any other names we missed there, but I think we covered most everyone. That's some kind of viable this week. But all right, I think that will do it. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll have some your start sit questions as you get ready for the playoffs. Talk to you guys tomorrow.